It was hard for me to trust that I could handle this. It was hard for me to trust myself with having kids. But if God trusts me enough to give them to me, then I should be able to trust myself to handle it. So I have to trust that God trusts me.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the More Purpose Podcast.
We talk faith and finances.
I'm your host, Clarence.
And your co-host, Marlon. And today we have a very special episode with a very special guest.
Yes, sir.
Our longtime friend, Ari Cole.
Yes, sir.
Here. How you feeling, Ari?
I'm feeling good. How are y'all feeling?
Feeling good.
I'm good also.
Feeling good.
Yes, sir.
Well, we just wanted to really just let the viewers on like your powerful story. We know your story, but we would like for you to just break it down for them that don't know.
Yeah.
So I just want you to act like we're not here. Like I want you to act like we don't know your story.
Let's get it.
And we just want to go from the beginning.
Yeah.
Get your popcorn. Get your
Yes.
popcorn.
Okay, powerful story.
So just to begin, at 19, I found out I was pregnant with twins.
It's crazy.
And yeah, it is crazy. And while pregnant, I also found out that my son had a heart defect, which is called Hypoplastic Heart Syndrome. It just means that he has a half of a heart. And like a quick I guess, synopsis of what that was like. My pregnancy was okay. I really honestly dealt with a lot of like fear. I was so ashamed, doubting God's ability to carry me through it, stuff like that. And then having them was a whole nother season for me it felt like times 10 what I went through while pregnant. Because my son ended up being in the hospital for a year, and that was a long season of loneliness. And I think that was my true wilderness season.
Yeah.
I really felt alone. I felt like I was just trying to figure it all out. And now I know out of it that I didn't fully lean on God the way I should have.
Yeah.
And so it caused me a lot more, I think, worry than I probably should have had.
Yeah. So to start off, because that's a very powerful story. So before all of that happened, because like you said, you were 19 and you had twins. Most people have their first baby is one baby.
Yeah.
So how did that affect your faith? So all the groundwork that you have built with God and your relationship with God, and then that happened, did you kind of feel like God was punishing you in a way?
I actually did. So the night that I found out I was pregnant, the next day I went to this like women's crisis center, and I didn't know at the time that it was a faith-based pregnancy center. And so they assigned you like an advocate or a counselor to talk with. And I remember walking in, I was alone again, and I felt so like down about myself. I felt like any negative thought that you can think about yourself, that's what I was thinking about myself. I just felt like my life was really, really going to be over.
Yeah.
And initially I was considering abortion. So thankful that God turned my mind around, turned my heart around. But in that meeting with the counselor, she like just began to remind me of everything that I already knew.
Yeah.
But when something as traumatic, or not traumatic, but something like so big as finding out that you're pregnant happens, everything that God has told you before this goes out the window.
Yeah,
like
you
all of the good things that the word says about you goes to the back of your mind. You're thinking about all the bad.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, like so she reminded me of everything that God's word says. And the big thing that she said to me, and I was in there boo-hoo crying, but the big thing that she said to me was, in the Bible, God talks about us riding on the wings of eagle. And she said eagles are the only birds that go through storms. No other birds go through storms. So as long as you're riding alongside God, that you're going to get through the storm and come out fine. And still alone, crying.
That's crazy.
Still alone and crying. And then I went into the ultrasound room and saw that it was twins. And I cried even more. And she held my hand. We prayed. And like little by little, that day, she just reminded me that God is gonna be with me through it all.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's a very powerful thing, though. It's a lot to unpack right there, because I think something very important that you said is that everything kind of went out the window that
Yeah,
God
yeah.
had told you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to talk about that stuff, but when you're inside of your own mistake,
Mm-hmm.
you are not. I'm not even trying to be funny. You're not thinking about those verses.
Yeah, at all.
You're not praying for nobody.
You're not trying to hear that,
At
and
all.
especially when people are encouraging you, like your life's not gonna be over.
Yeah.
It sounds cliche, don't
Yeah,
it?
it does.
And they send you
It's real
scriptures
cliche.
and prayers.
But it sound good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you had to come to know God. I mean, not come to know God, but grow closer to God for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
how was
from
that?
there.
Yeah, how was that process as far as after the babies were had?
Yeah, so after I had the twins, Chase and Chance,
Yeah.
after I had them, I was living alone in Baltimore. And I was honestly dealing with a lot, because after you have a baby, your body, your mental, your emotional, your physical is already like drained. Like I was really just like not feeling, I didn't want to be around people. And so it was just hard, because I didn't even want to show up for myself, so now I have to show up for my kids, and especially the one that really needed me. He was sick. And so that was really hard for me. And I think what I did was make sure I read the word every day. And I was like, I really did not want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no matter what I read, make sure I'm reading it, I'm taking it in. And then my family did something where we started a prayer call every morning at 6:30. So I was forced, because if I was on a prayer call, they'd be calling me like, they don't pray.
Yeah.
So I was like really forced to make sure I stayed in the presence of God throughout the day. So that just helped me remaining in the presence of God. And of course, there were days where it still wasn't, I feel like, what it should be, as far as me really, walking in the shadow of Jesus. But yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah. To go with that, because we talked about how basically like your faith went out the window, went to the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point did your faith start climbing back once you already had Chase and Chance?
Yeah.
I know you went through the season of prayer calls and reading scriptures and everything, but sometimes you can be doing all that and still don't be mentally there.
Yeah. So it was a mom that was in the hospital with her son when I would go visit my son. Mm-hmm. And now her son has passed away, but at the time, he was going on a year that he had been in the hospital. And for me, it had only been like a few weeks for Chance. And she was just like, we made it a year, so these little couple of weeks, like, I promise you, it does not compare to the year that we've had to spend. And don't. So it was her story, and her constantly reminding me that I went through this and I'm still fine.
Yeah.
And you will go through it and you'll still be fine. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think honestly, her testimony and her constantly talking to me and reassuring me that everything's going to be okay with my son, because everything was okay with her son in the end. It really uplifted me.
Yeah. So, how can you say your purpose or what you thought you were called to do if you knew back then, or just because I feel like we make so many plans and then life comes and just punches you in the stomach and you get the wind knocked out of you. Similar things have happened to me, and I feel like, okay, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
How have you been trying to like rearrange that, find your identity back, and find your confidence back? Because I know you acted, you used to act and stuff like that. So what have you been trying to do, or where do you see God leading you right now?
Yeah. So back then, I got pregnant when I was in my second year of college. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I didn't have I think I wasn't hearing from God enough to know what his concrete will was for me. I think I was going after kind of my own desires. I think Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans of a man's heart, but the Lord's will prevaileth much." And so I think I was really going after what I personally wanted, and I wasn't really talking to God about what it is that he wanted for me. So at that time, I really don't even know what my true purpose was
Yeah.
or what God's will for me was. And even now, I still have moments where I feel like I really don't know what it is you want from me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it changes season to season, and I think He wants me to be this in this season. He wants me to be this for somebody else in the next season. And so I feel like now in this season, I finally have both of my boys at home, and I think He wants me to focus on right now being the mom that He's called me to be, and then helping others, because I've had so many people reach out to me about being a young mom and what that looks like, and then being a mom to a baby that's sick, and what that looks like, and what I do, and what every day is like. And just the same way the women who, when I was in the hospital, really uplifted me through her testimony, I think God is leading me to do the same, uplift others through my testimony.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's great.
I was going to say, because I know you said a lot of people have contacted you about helping them out and stuff like that. And I know you have been raised in church and still are in church and stuff like that. And situations like these, the church tries to hide.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with the mistake that you made? Because at the end of the day, we hate the sin, but we love the soul, right? Because the church tries to hide these different things, and when it does happen, they don't approach it all the time with God's love. So what was your even initial thought about what other people would think? Because I know that's the first thought we think of when we make a mistake. What are everybody else gonna say about me?
And was it more love or more Pharisees?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't feel like there was anyone like bashing me or saying anything negative towards me or my situation. It was really me. Like it was like really the battle in my own mind. Like I said earlier, any negative thing that you could think about yourself, I was thinking that about myself. It really probably wasn't even the enemy. It was literally me. Like I was like really so upset with myself. And then there was something else that I had learned, and someone was saying that sex outside of marriage is not a part of God's will. Nothing that is a sin is a part of God's will. But it sounds so cliche to say, but children are a gift. So it even goes to show God's grace and mercy that even in the midst of your sin, He'll still bless you. And it doesn't look like a blessing or doesn't feel like a blessing, but as you go through it, like I said, the storm, as you go through the storm, you realize that it is a blessing on the other side.
Good.
I was gonna say that it's crazy because that's how I look at most things in life. Like even when we fall short and say like how Romans 3:23 says, it's like even mistakes can be turned into blessings. It's just how your heart posture is white and mistakes. Like God, I know this happened, but I'm still gonna do things in your will. And I was gonna ask like, how has your routine also have changed, like differentiating from how you was beforehand? So like your routine was when you was in school and everything before kids, and how it is now, and how does that like change your mindset with keeping God in the mix, doing His will every day, knowing you have to worry about 2 kids now?
Yeah, definitely like a mental shift. So before, I didn't have any real responsibilities. Even though I was an adult, I didn't have what it felt like adult responsibilities. I was, like I said, in school, so just going to class, that's the same thing that a typical teenage student would be doing. But now I'm responsible for 2 other people, so making arrangements, a lot of times I have to say no to things that I want to do, or I have to say no when people invite me somewhere. So I don't have that same freedom. I can't come and go as I please. And so in those ways, I guess my routine or my way of life is different, because I really have to also think about the things that I do, the things that I say, because never know, come back and bite me in the butt later and affect my children.
I want to kind of go back to what you said about God still showing His grace and mercy even in our mistakes. I feel like most people are not going to like that because so I always think about Jeremiah 20. I don't know the exact verse, but when He said, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. So back to what you said, that every form of life that has came into this world, whether by mistake, sin, whatever it may be, God knew beforehand. And He allowed it to happen. It doesn't mean he didn't like your sin,
Yeah.
but he knew the form of life that will come into play, and it doesn't stop the calling that baby has now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's very powerful to see that even in our mistakes, God can really use them as another puzzle piece and just work them out for our good. Because I've never seen nobody else can do that. Man will try to throw you away over stuff stuff like that. Man tries to throw you away, but just to see God like, okay, I discipline you because I love you. This is okay. So this is the consequence of your actions, but there's grace and mercy for it in a way. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just beautiful to me. I love that.
And to go along with that, do you feel like you can feel God's grace in your situation?
Yeah, I definitely do. When I was living in Baltimore, I was in the hospital visiting him every single day, and there was a point in time where I had went to 4 funerals in 4 weeks.
Jeez.
And these are babies. Like no baby has turned even 2 years old yet.
Yeah.
And so it reminded me that God is still keeping me.
Mhm.
And there is a blessing in being kept.
Yeah.
The same way that it's a blessing for, a family member to pass away and you learn from it. It's a blessing also in being kept alive.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think God really developed my faith in that season, and he allowed me to really experience strength that you can't get
Yes.
through anything else or from anyone else.
Okay, I wanna tap back into the sex before marriage thing
Mhm.
because I feel like that's a big topic that many young people don't talk about. And especially in church.
Yeah.
And it's going on heavily,
Yeah.
but it's of course it's swept under the rug.
Yeah.
But this is a transparent space, no chaser. You know what I'm saying? So stories like this really touched my heart because I know what I used to do. So I always think of that could have been me.
Yeah.
Just think about how many times you were sinning, and that could have been you on the other side of that. So I really stopped to say, like, when you hear stories like this is not just to inspire you, but actually take heed to it if you are still struggling with sexual immorality and you are not married yet. You need to actually start praying on that, because one thing I learned and something that has kind of helped me with that is I had to keep it real myself. It's very irresponsible for me to be having sex with a young lady unprotected, and I know I don't have no capacity to care for a child right now, financially, mentally, or spiritually.
Yeah.
So I feel like we as Christians and even young men, we have to be more responsible in that area to like you gotta know because when you do stuff like that, you gotta expect the consequences. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
what do you think about that?
And I also want to tap into that as well because there you go. Yeah, come on now. But I also want to tap into that as well because I feel like it's also a church and parent thing too. Because some parents they're also just telling you not to do it, but they're not giving you the reasoning why.
That's the truth.
Why aren't we doing it?
That's true.
Like, why can't I do this?
Yes.
All my friends are doing it, why can't I do it?
Yes.
Like, I want you to explain it to me.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, even if you don't want me to do it, as a parent, I feel like you should also have the plan B if your child's ever in that situation. So still give them grace. Because like, I don't want you to do this. You shouldn't do this at all. Here's the reason why.
Yes.
And if you end up in a situation and you can't control and get out of it, protect yourself.
Yes.
And I feel like nobody talks about that. I feel like nobody says protect yourself. Like, there's no emphasis on that because there be situations where you can be with your friends and everything and just end up in a situation unprotected, and you just do what you do.
Yeah.
And that could backfire on you because one, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't really place the blame on nobody, but at the end of the day, it's like it could have been a better way it could have been dealt.
I definitely agree with that because I feel like you said, a lot of parents don't mention it. They say, don't do that.
Yeah.
But like they always say, that's like saying, don't touch that stove. You know,
Yeah.
why? I gotta keep my hand. Touch more. So a lot of us were figuring out things in high school. And you got to think about it, in high school, you're still finding yourself. So you're hanging with these people, and you're literally just
curious.
It's like, you're telling me not to do something, but you're not giving me the explanation. And one thing that we have to emphasize is that, okay, because now that I'm older, I understand why sex it's not bad. Anything God made is beautiful. Sex is a beautiful thing when you are under covenant. Because it said the two become one flesh. So when we are sharing our bodies with all of these different people, this person over here got a half of me, this person got a half of me, this person got a half of me. And what it is doing is it's dampening your spirit. I had to come to realize that God is not a dictator. He wants us to enjoy these things, but under the rules and the laws that he has given us and the restrictions that he has given us.
But we don't be realizing that it's really for the best of us.
Yes, it's protection.
He's protecting us.
Yes.
But again, us being young and curious and not having the right reasoning behind situations, we're not thinking about none of that.
Yeah.
We're not thinking, just for my protection. You know, trying to stop me from having fun. My parents trying to stop me from having fun.
Yeah.
Everybody I'm hanging around, they doing this.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it too.
That's the truth. That is the truth. So I got a question then. On that note, so after the mistake happened, how did that change your outlook on sin?
It reminded me, just as I said before, that even in the midst of your sin, God still has his hand on your life. And it was something that after I found out about my son's heart defect, right, they were saying that I should terminate him. And I think it was a test. Like, you know, I got you to first not get an abortion, right? And so now you're faced with abortion again. And so I'm like, God, after I just got over, you know, whether or not I should get an abortion, I said no, I listened to you, I cling to you, and now I'm faced with it again. And so I feel like my outlook on sin changed. Oh, and also I was like, it's a punishment for having sex outside of marriage, right? And I think my outlook changed because he gave me grace and mercy to endure it. And in that moment, in that season, you don't feel it at all. Like you still feel like, God, like what is going on? Like, why is this happening to me? It's not until you're outside of it, right? They always say that. What is it? 2020.
2020.
Yeah, so when you look back, it's a lot clearer to see. You can't see clearer while you're in it. And so it wasn't until looking back on it that I can say, God, even in the midst of my sin, you've given me so much grace and so much mercy, because I know that naturally in my own flesh, it's not something that I could decide or carry on my own. Yeah. So I think my outlook on sin has changed, and me being reminded that God is merciful and he gives so much grace.
I think when we realize like how much grace we have with God, I think it makes us more intimate with him in a way too. It's like, dang, God, like you really be sparing me.
And he knows the worst about you.
Bro, exactly. It's like, and you still love me unconditionally. Knowing all my darkest secrets, knowing every fault, every time I messed up, every time I said I wouldn't do it again, I did it again.
That's
you still love me.
And to that person that may be feeling like that, or maybe going through not just premarital sex, or if you had a child out of wedlock, but any sin in general, any mistake that you have made, you have to know that man is going to let you down. Man is going to talk about you. Man can change their opinion about you. But every single day you wake up, God has given you another chance to make it right. So you have to realize that your life is really not over because of the mistake you made. And you are not the mistake you made.
Yo,
Right
time
there.
out.
You right
here.
Yeah.
I know you not watching this video.
Yeah.
Ain't like and subscribe.
Listen.
What you doing?
What are you doing?
Why you playing? You know, bro. Come on now. Like, real talk. I thought we was family.
So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that little bell, because when you do that, you'll get every alert for when we post. We don't want you to just be a stranger part of this channel. We want to bring you into the family. You know what I'm saying?
You never know what episode may drop that you may need for your life right now in this very moment.
Exactly.
So turn the post notifications on. We love you. We appreciate you.
And we hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. So what would you say to that young person who has made this same mistake and they feel like their life is over and God has nothing else planned for them?
I would say your life is not over. It feels like it because, like I said before, all of the things that the word says about you, it gets pushed to the back of your mind. And you're not thinking about how God feels about the situation, how God feels about you. You become so selfish in the decisions that you make. So I would say get it in the presence of God, because that's what I had to do. It was so hard. Like when situations like that happen, you really want to ignore God. And I think that was in, I think John Bevere was saying how when the word says we become separated from God, it's we that become separated from God, not God that becomes separated from us. So we have a tendency of getting away from God whenever we
Hiding.
feel like, whenever we feel like something is not pleasing to Him. But it's really in those moments we should run to God. And so, easier said than done, but don't feel ashamed. Don't feel like your life is over. Somebody else told me once before that so many people have sex outside of marriage. That's not to normalize it.
Yeah.
But if you are the one that gets pregnant, you're no different from them.
Yeah.
You just got pregnant.
Yeah.
And so that is something that I also was like keeping in the back of my mind as well. But the biggest thing that I would say is get in the presence of God, because in His presence there's no condemnation, and so you won't feel any fear, guilt, shame, worry, doubt. All of that goes out of the window, and you begin to be reminded. I think is what is it? 1 Peter 29 or something. You are a royal priesthood.
Chosen
All that.
generation.
You become reminded of where your identity is rooted, and it's not rooted in people saying, you're too young to be a mom. You fast, you grown. Stuff like that. So get in the presence of God, and all that goes away.
I'm going to tap into that because I like how you said when we make mistakes, we try to run away from God. My dad had said one time like how instead of running away from God, like when your parents give you a whooping, it's best that you go and cling on to them because it's going to be harder for you to get hit because you're clinging on to them versus when you're running away, they got full leverage to get you.
Full out target.
But I like how you said that because it's the same thing with God. Like we're running away from God, that's only making it worse versus us running to God when He's really open arms, trying to take us in. Yeah, you made a mistake, but I still love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
Think about like this, because as soon as you said that, I instantly thought about Adam and Eve when after they bit the fruit,
Playing hide and seek.
they felt naked and they was hiding from God, and God already knew what they did. But like now that I'm thinking about it, that's the ultimate form of grace, because it says in John 1:1, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So meaning Jesus was already foreknown before He was even revealed to us. So that means God had already had grace for Adam's mistake even before he committed it.
Yeah.
That's OD.
Yeah,
that's
it's scary.
But that's just like, that shows how big His mercy. We can't understand it, and it's new every single day.
Yeah.
For God to have a whole solution and like a backup plan for, I knew you was gonna fall. And you don't even know I got something in the bushes like to make this right. That shows His grace and His mercy right there. So I thought about Adam and Eve right there. That story's crazy.
It just proves that His grace is sufficient.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love it.
How do you think, because like for the people that's listening, in what ways do you think they can run to God instead of running away?
I think because God is, I know you've heard it before, God is in the business of blessing people, right? So if, for example, if you go to a Mexican restaurant, right? You can go to the same one that you always go to, but if you go to a new one, right, you're going to expect there to still be Mexican food, right? Because they're in the business of making Mexican food. So you don't have to worry that they won't have tacos. You know what I mean? And that's the same way with God. We can go to Him in every season of our life, and we won't have to worry whether or not He'll bless us, because we know that He's in the business of blessing people.
Okay, bars.
That was good.
You got Ron back there. Hey, Ron, clip that, brother.
Go ahead and clip it. That was good.
Nah, that was good.
That's facts though.
Yeah.
Because when you really think about it, God's consistent.
Yeah, He
time.
is.
You don't have to question Him.
The only constant in our lives is God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dang.
I never heard that one.
Nah, that was good.
I heard a lot of stuff. I haven't heard that one. So I just got a question for you, like on a personal level then. So since we already got that out the way, do you think God, I know you don't know for sure right now, but do you think God is going to use you in a way to, like, on whatever scale He wants to use you in, but for those mothers, like in a continuous way?
Yeah, I actually almost feel like I know so.
Yeah.
Because I have a really prophetic gift, and God always is showing me things, and it's more so visions than dreams, and He's always like talking to me, and I've had so many opportunities to talk to moms. I'm like, I can't even help but to share what I've been through.
Happens on its own.
Yeah, like it just it's just
Yes, God.
And do you get like a sense of fulfillment when you're doing it too?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
Purpose.
I do.
That's so cool.
Purpose.
Yeah, I
That's-
don't even have to try.
That goes to show you though, like even when you're making a mistake or doing
Yeah,
something that you feel like is outside of God's will, He can always weave it back into
Yeah.
purpose at the end of the day.
Mm.
and they're older than me, asking me.
That's crazy.
And that just shows also that you were equipped for it also.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because just think about somebody else wouldn't be able to hold that weight of their
Mhm.
mistake, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everybody's not strong enough to withhold that.
Yeah.
Especially being underage. You're
One-
in school.
let alone one kid.
one with
Yeah.
two
Twins out the gate.
Twins. This is not one kid. It's
Twins.
two of them.
yeah,
Two boys.
Yeah.
Dang,
Crazy.
I wish we were twins.
Dang.
You guys kind of are twins.
How
Do
you
we
think
look
act
alike,
as
y'all?
twins?
Who's the better looking twin?
You think we'd act the same if we was twins?
I feel like in a way I think we're opposites.
I think so. I think so too.
Yeah.
I think like God strategically made us like.
Chase and Chance are opposites. So
Yeah, Chance he be chilling,
yeah,
laid back.
He's so
He be
mean.
cooling.
Believe it or not, CL used to be mean too.
I used to be mean too. So
CL used to try to bully me.
No. I think you have it messed up. I think
No,
it's backwards here. I think I only used to be me because you used to be worse.
Yeah.
So it used to be like a why are you touching me? I'm trying to relax.
I wanted to play.
I'll be playing the game. He come over there. I'm like, bro, what are you touching me for, bro?
Listen,
Then I get mad. Trying my long time.
I wish we were twins though, but maybe that would have been a little annoying throughout school and stuff.
I mean, Ma already dressed like we was twins.
Yeah, listen,
You gonna dress them the same?
yeah,
You
they're
dress them?
twins.
Yeah.
they are. They
You
are
have to
twins.
do it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
Yeah, they
It's only
have
right.
to. Yeah.
Chance gonna be mad at you.
Yeah.
Okay, so question on that, on Chance, how are you managing with that? With being in and out of the doctors,
Yeah.
appointments, and all of that different stuff. I know you said at the beginning he has a half of heart, right? What is it called again?
Hypoplastic heart syndrome.
Hypoplastic fart syndrome.
Come on, dude.
Hypoplastic left heart.
Left heart. Sorry.
Yeah.
You said
Plastic.
Come on, bro.
Plastic. All right, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. But how are you
Yeah.
managing with that?
Yeah.
Like,
It's hard because it's considered a disease that doesn't have a cure.
mhm.
So, what they do is treat it. There's nothing
Yeah.
that we could ever do for him to not have it anymore. So it is hard accepting that, this could eventually
Yeah.
kill him. I'm praying
Mhm.
that a miracle happens, and I see a miracle in the
Yes.
the spiritual realm, just waiting for the crossover in the
Mhm.
physical.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I remember this past Mother's Day. It was my second Mother's Day ever, and it was also my second Mother's Day not having both of my boys with me together.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was sitting in the hospital room, and I was crying and crying so much, and I was like, "Why am I crying?" And I was realizing that my real inner thoughts were, I shouldn't even be celebrating today.
Mm.
I shouldn't have a child that's sick. I shouldn't be a mom. Like, I'm too young. Everybody's giving their mom gifts.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
don't have any friends who have kids.
Mhm.
So they're all, what should I get my mom? I'm like, I don't know. I'm worried about I'm worried about my son in the hospital.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I remember just crying. I felt so ashamed. And Mother's Day is always on Sunday. The next day, I came to Bible study. Actually, it was my first time going to Bible study in a while, and I remember feeling like so much better.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm managing fine. I feel like I got off
Yeah.
topic,
No, you
but
good.
I'm managing fine. I just have those moments where I really doubt, even now, like I said, that I really just doubt
That's real though.
my ability to take all of this on.
Mhm.
Is that considered imposter syndrome? Is that what that is?
What?
Like when you know you're in the moment, but you feel like you're not qualified to be in the moment. If you get what I'm saying, is that what it is?
I don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like you start doubting the situation that you're in. You be like,
I don't think that's imposter syndrome. I think it's just fear.
fear.
Yeah, I think imposter syndrome is what it is.
Yeah. You feel like you're not good enough.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's imposter
So
syndrome?
maybe-
I think so.
I'm thinking imposter syndrome is just like you have an identity crisis.
He's an imposter.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking that's like you got an identity crisis. Like you don't know what's going on. You trying to be somebody else. Like you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Even in those seasons though, like when you feel like you're not good enough or you feel like you're not worthy to even be in your situation to be a mother, how do you get back in the mindset of no, I can do this? Like get like reassuring yourself and getting your confidence back to know that you have two sons that you're called to lead in a righteous way. Like,
I feel like God is really good at sending like little here's and there's. I don't know what the right word
Yeah.
is, but He sends like little things to like good moments that
Reassurance
remind
and
you,
everything.
that like it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm still here. I didn't leave you.
Yeah.
And even when it felt like God was quiet or whatever, or in those hurry up and wait seasons, like something really good would happen, and then it's like dead silence for a long time, or you're just waiting for a long time. I just feel like God is just really good at sending people, things, words to reassure you that He's still there.
how did it feel to have Chance back home?
hmm
Oh,
Yes, it felt so good. It almost was like I just had twins again, because for a long time it was just me and Chase, and it felt like I was just a mom to one baby,
Yeah.
because I never was waking up and going to sleep to two, and so having him home felt really
Yeah.
good. And I think, like I was just saying, a lot of the season before that was hurry up and wait. But now to have him home is really nice, and he's actually about to go back in the hospital soon, so it's
What-
about to be back to.
Which house? Baltimore?
No, he's going to Duke.
Duke, is that better? Is that a better one?
Yeah,
Oh, that's what's
How
up.
far is
Okay.
that?
Duke
it's
is
3 hours away.
3 hours.
Ain't
North
bad,
Carolina.
ain't bad.
Yeah.
Is that basically like the same drive as Baltimore?
Well, Baltimore was 4 hours, so it's an hour less.
So how long is that for?
I'm hoping that it's no longer than a month. but
Okay.
we're gonna see.
God, we can pray on that
we
for
praying.
sure.
Thank you.
Would you say being a mother, did it make you mature faster, or how was that like in that aspect? Like, did you feel like you was ready in general? Like you're like, oh no, I gotta get myself together, or like I gotta hurry up, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Like, what was your expectation of just being a mother in general?
I definitely did not feel ready. Even
Yeah.
after I had them, I still did not feel like this was something that I could handle. A lot of praying and asking God for guidance. Like every single time I pray, I always make sure I say, Father, help me
Yeah.
to be a better mother. Show me what I'm supposed to do as far as being a mother to them. I did feel like I had to grow up fast because,
Yeah.
like I said, your responsibilities are completely different. You're responsible for people, for humans. I have to make sure Chance is getting his medicine. I have to make sure I'm taking him to the doctor. For Chase, I have to keep him under control. I have to let him know what's right from
Yeah.
wrong. So it's
Two different tasks.
yeah. It's a different responsibility than a typical 21-year-old would have. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It did rush me to grow up though.
Might say,
Definitely.
do you feel like it helps speed up your character development? Like like personally, like just as a woman, like you feel like it helped develop certain spots in your character that you feel like was weaknesses at one point, but now can be strengths?
Yeah and no. I still have a lot of moments where I'm leaning on my own parents
Yeah.
for help and advice. And I know that's probably for anybody at any age,
Yeah.
whether you have kids or not. But I've always been someone who is, for example, afraid of confrontation or uncomfortable with confrontation. And like having kids, you can't be that way.
Yeah.
But I still am. So in some areas I've grown as far as my character, and then in that area or any other area, I feel like it's the same.
Yeah. I heard you mention your parents. How important was your support system in all of this? Your family, all of that. How important was that for them to just be there for you? And possibly it felt like one of the worst moments of your life.
Yeah, it was really important that I had them. I really don't think I could have done it on my own. While I was pregnant, I was having to go back and forth to Baltimore. And that's like, I wasn't about to be pregnant and driving back and forth.
Yeah.
So, my mom, my stepdad, my dad, whoever was able to, they were taking me back and forth. And then after having the boys, like I said, I was living in Baltimore alone. I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
It was my first time even going to Baltimore, and I'm living there
It's crazy.
with a child in the hospital, and I'm a first time mom, so I'm at home raising a child, and then I'm going to the hospital making sure I'm there for the other child. So having my parents there was really good, and even having their words, because it gets overwhelming even now, but in that season it was really overwhelming. A lot of what I had to go through And also you hear a lot of death stories and stuff like that. Like, it's hard to hear, and that's not always something that is easy to keep to yourself. It's something that you want to vent to people about.
Yeah.
And so it was really nice to always have my family to be physically there and to be a listening ear. It was really nice.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Nah, that's really amazing. Do you feel like you cherish your moments more now that they're back home?
Yes, I do. I always make sure Chance feels included. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, he's a baby. He's not going to remember." But to me, I feel like he feels it, he knows it, he remembers it. And I just even if it's in God's will that he doesn't live a long life, I still want him to feel like his life was fulfilled or his life had purpose or his life meant something. And so I always value his life extra, harder.
Yeah.
So,
That definitely is beautiful because he might be a baby, but that stuff really does come into play, especially as they grow older. Because I still remember certain things from my childhood.
Key moments.
You would remember. So I'm happy to hear that you do that and that you make sure he gets that extra love and then extra attention, because he probably, of course, he's a baby, so he probably doesn't know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm sure as he gets older, it's kind of gonna be like, okay, why is it like this? Like, okay, I'm restricted in a way. You know what I'm saying? So that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And I have one more question before we get out of here. What's something that you would like to just? It might be a mom out there that's in your very situation. Like, what's some words of encouragement that you can give her?
Yeah. I would say having children is a hard thing. You are waking up and going to sleep with a very heavy responsibility, not to mention everything that you have to do for yourself, not to mention everything that you still want to be there for other people. You still want to be a sister, a friend, a niece, a granddaughter. So showing up for your children, everyone else around you, and yourself is really hard. But the same way that God gives us grace, we have to give ourselves grace. And I always remind myself to trust myself because God trusts me. And that was something that was really hard for me to grasp for a while. It was hard for me to trust that I could handle this. It was hard for me to trust myself with having kids. But if God trusts me enough to give them to me, then I should be able to trust myself to handle it. So I have to trust that God trusts me.
That was good.
Good. I thought you had a question for me. You looked at me.
I ain't gonna cut you off before.
Nah,
closing
you
out.
good. You good. Go ahead.
Well, we appreciate you for even hopping up here on the pod. You was talking greatly.
Great episode.
That blessed me.
Hey, look, send it
That
to
was
a
good.
friend. Subscribe, like, all of that, because this is a powerful episode.
Facts.
And again, this is a topic that many people don't talk about. So we want to have more conversations like this where it's transparent, to where we can get different people up here and talk about these things that the Christian community need to talk about, because it's people that are going through these things, and because these healthy conversations are not being had, they are figuring things out by themselves when there should be some form of guidance, especially from people who this has happened to before. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel so full right now.
yeah, me too.
Because-
Yeah, this was good.
Like how she said, like when you feel like when you walk in the purpose, you feel fulfilled and everything. I feel like this is more
This is a
like conversation,
purposeful
like
episode.
purposeful episode. I
Yeah.
feel like we need more purposeful episodes like this,
Yes.
like for our viewers that
Yes.
are going through similar situations.
Yes.
And I feel like it's only the beginning for that.
I don't even remember, how did she come up? We was here last week recording. So sitting over there.
We was brainstorming, talking about what's some more episodes we need to start doing.
But how did
And we were saying we need to get. We was like we need somebody to come up here, and I was like, hold on, what about Ari's story?
That's so
And
crazy.
it just popped up randomly.
Oh yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna call her.
Yeah.
I called her around the spot. I said, you can pray on it. She was like, yeah, I'm gonna pray on it.
Cause like, that's
Next day, she said, I'm gonna do it. I'm like,
I
okay.
already knew that I was
Yeah.
gonna say yeah though.
Not fair. You always gotta consult. You know what I'm saying?
Not for sure.
I just believe that your testimony is going to help many other people. Then also, I just believe that this is just the beginning of what God's trying to do in your life as your own ministry and stuff like that, that he's going to carve you out your own lane for you to be able to have a voice for that community and that group of people who are going through the same thing. So definitely just praying blessings on everything for you and the kids too.
Facts.
Thank you.
Definitely praying for them. We appreciate you again for joining.
sir.
Thank y'all for watching. Like Marlon said, like, comment, subscribe, leave a
sir.
review, share it to y'all friends, and make sure y'all join the Patreon too if y'all want episodes early,
Facts.
merch, and a little more inside look into our personal lives and what we thinking about different things and picking out the episodes too as well.
Yeah.
But other than that, we love y'all. It's always more purpose. Y'all be safe. Love.